Just invite them all to the Spring Championship. It's as simple as that. Alright, let's kick off into this, guys, as we have the red Protoss player. This is going to be ShoWTimE. And in the bottom left, our blue Terran is going to be ByuN. Game 1 of this best of 3. Let's kick this off. And to figure out what will happen between ByuN and ShoWTimE, let me just... the FPS is going to go down just for a second, guys, while I just tab out to quickly check their history. I feel like ByuN and ShoWTimE have played a couple of times lately. I just want to be accurate in what I'm saying. Yeah, so they played in this... Oh, yeah, they played yesterday in this Frankie Ducklings tournament. That was a 3-0. They played last week. Oh, a couple of weeks ago. No, last week in the Monday Night Weeklies, that was a 1-0 for ByuN. But then in the Boomer Bash tournament, ShoWTimE got a 2-0. In WardiTV Mondays 28, ByuN won 2-0. In general, ByuN was on a losing streak against ShoWTimE coming into 2025, but has started to win some games against them. So it's actually a very competitive series here. We usually go back and forth between these two. So we actually have very much so an out in the open series where there's not really a good or easy prediction to be made on this one. So let's see what happens. Let's see what goes on. Hello, Eric. How you doing? Good to see you. And what's up, Mana? You think losing a Max Pack should give you +1 chance to invite to the championship? Yeah, well... You could just beat Max Packs as well, you know, easy. Well, I've heard it's doable. Well, you know, what is 2 games of PvP? You know, just pop off for a little bit. Just pop off a little bit. If you need some advice, there it is. I try to employ this advice in my own ladder games. I'm just not good enough to really make it happen. But yeah. Yeah. Alrighty, we do have our Twilight Council coming up. Our Nexus coming over. We get that settled in here for a few moments. And yeah, we just settled down. Twilight Council coming about. A couple of command centers on the way. Triple CC from ByuN means a very passive game from him. Generally expecting a very different set of games from ByuN from what Han Mono gave us in the previous round. And ByuN already opening up with triple CC could not be anything further from the idea of what Han Mono was doing, right? You know, there's a lot of like timing windows you can hit in TvPs and so on, but like going triple command center takes us well away from the 2 base all in, you know. So we'll see how this goes. We do have our few Marines are going to step up. The depth is going to take some damage, getting pushed away. The 2 adepts actually going to shade by in towards the natural. An engineering bay building, the barracks finishing in the main as well. It's going to be 2 racks and a command center about to finish up as well. So yeah, we're going to be on triple CC in the very near future. Bunker coming down, tech lab coming up. And yeah, the important thing here is that ByuN's going basically into no tech structure. So this is one of those moments where actually like a lot of Blink Stalker pressure could do a lot because you're basically only going to be on Marines for a little while. So you're only going to have Marines here as ByuN. And with only Marines available... if ShoWTimE, like I say, stepped up the Stalker pressure, there's a lot of potential there, but he's not going to. He's taking a fast 3rd base off the 2 gateways, so that's not really going to exist, and so you're more or less just going to get away with this as ByuN. ShoWTimE, first scout into the main base in a few moments, his hallucination will tell him, okay, you're being very economical, and you don't have a lot of other tech on the way, it's very Marine heavy. If you're ShoWTimE, I think this is like a drop a RoboBay down situation, because what you need to start thinking of here is how the hell am I going to deal with a larger bioforce? And a lot of the time that is not really dealt with super easily by just more additional gateway units. Let's see what he wants to do. We'll see if he adds on a RoboBay any faster, or if he wants to just continue into Blink, then follow it up with Charge. The one thing you can say is even if it is bio right now, you're not going to have like medevacs for quite a while, so the first time in a bio is not super scary. So that's one thing to, like I say, keep in mind for us here at the moment, as those few Stalkers continue to gather together. And yeah, Stimpack, Combat Shield, and +1 attack upgrade all building up. A full bio setup coming through from ByuN. We have this very highly competitive round of 16 matchup here today. Observer pops, Stalkers will just set out the front. Stim combat and +1 still coming through. A few Stalkers will begin to hit. The bunker with a few Marines inside will fire back. And the Stalker's already taken some damage. Charging +1 come through on the side of ShoWTimE. We had a couple extra gateways in. We do have ourselves 2 more barracks building up from ByuN for the moment. The Stalkers fire off a few more shots. A few Marines getting chipped away at still. The ByuN going to step up once again. And the Stalkers have no choice but to just get the hell away from there. So they are going to run. One Stalker going down. The rest of the Stalkers have to peel back around. It looks as though we're going to try and chase that ByuN back the other direction. We got combat shields are finishing. Concussive shells in production. And we do have our Stalkers just going to get a couple of Marines. It's actually really nice so far. The more of these Marines we kill, the better off we're going to be. Look at this. He's just shaving off Marines. ByuN, you can't keep fighting this, surely. Finally, ShoWTimE has to actually blink, but that was a lot of dead units. 1 Stalker died, but we've killed 11 Marines. Extremely effective start from ShoWTimE. I mean, that is just so many less units than you're meant to have at this stage. ShoWTimE already has 1 Colossus out, by the way, so behind all of this, that Robo Bay I mentioned did come through. This time, the high ground obviously makes it a bit tougher for ShoWTimE to find too much. And the medevac's going to roll around to the right and get ready to drop into the natural. And +1 coming up, charge on the way. Next results coming on by. ByuN unloading, couple of probes dropping. Results taking damage. Sentry and the Stalkers gathering. Pop the Guardian shield. I see the Stalkers trying to play defense. The medevacs will just not be able to do much at all. And ShoWTimE already shown us what he is so good at, which is just being so solid defensively. Absolutely, like I said it before, one of the best defensive players of our time. Just in the current state of StarCraft 2, like, his defense is still something that leaves a lot of people admiring day in and day out. Some very cool stuff there from ShoWTimE as extended thermal lens, very much so still building up on that Robo Bay. We have the Colossus and Zealots in production to add a +2 attack upgrade, get the Forge, continue to build the upgrade and into +1 armor as well. And meanwhile, ByuN back at home gets a Ghost Academy, so his continuation of tech will set up. A couple of Vikings out and going into more Vikings as we speak, so starting to prepare against the Colossus as well. ShoWTimE's defense is being good. Obviously, ByuN has no real choice but to start developing his army to play a later game composition here and to play against a later game Protoss force, so that's where we go to from ByuN. He will begin those preparations. This Colossus will hit a few of the Marines. Wouldn't mind trying to step forward. The Colossus has already taken some damage. Again, the ByuN still coming around. Just going to head down to the south. We have ourselves the command center setting up in between the natural and the 3rd base as well. So we get that going. 2 upgrades and the ship weapons continuing to produce right now. So we do get good upgrades being added on across the board. Add a few more Zealots in as well. And these few Stalkers and another Colossus coming through. Going to get ready to poke forward and head straight in toward this 3rd base mineral line. A couple of SCVs already going to get jumped on. The Sense Tower is in trouble. I mean, this is nice for ShoWTimE, who's killed 10 SCVs. This has been one of the most dangerous attacks a Protoss player has been able to come up with lately, which is, you hit it this time where it's just difficult for the Terran to really have enough Vikings to fight off your Colossus, and this time it has created issues for many a Terran lately. Like I say, it's been pretty brutal as we step forward. The Zealots are going to try and charge forward again. Vikings want to come across. 8 more Zealots warping in. Our Disruptor coming through, and another scan just coming out overhead, keeping an eye on things. Tifo's taking damage. We are going to step straight forward here. Vikings doing their thing. Colossus taking quite a lot of shots. We're actually going to lose a Colossus in the next couple of moments. 13 SCVs going down again. Nothing else. ShoWTimE is winning big because of that. The one thing he doesn't want to do is to lose too much, that he gets chased across the map and punished for being here. I think he's doing absolutely fine right now. Stalemate in with his army. The Colossus looking as safe as ever. Looking very comfortable as we do pull back over the right side. We have ourselves 2 more Colossus in production. +3/+2 coming up. Add some Stalkers on as well. And yeah, the 2 upgrades will be finishing on the engineering base. So both those engineering base finishing, completing. Medevac Marauder popping out as we speak. Continue to get those numbers up and rolling. Looking good across the board right now. It does really feel very nice at the moment for ShoWTimE. Like, this has been a very comfortable game. He's put himself in a good position. This game is obviously not going to be getting any worse for him, unless the one thing that goes very badly for ShoWTimE is if he takes a fight where he loses those Colossus and he gets chased down. A running away Protoss player in retreat is a Protoss player who's extremely vulnerable. Scan drops, the orbital lifts. We'll see the Stalkers blinking underneath the orbital there and try to get more done. 11 SCVs falling. Make it 12. The Stalkers blink again. The orbital burning as the SCVs pull across. A couple more SCVs go down. We warp in another round of Zealots along with it. Now, this is just tough for ByuN. He's losing SCVs left, right, and center. He's lost, what, 48 in this game? So his economy's never been comfortable. Can't take the fourth. Now he has a better army against the Colossus, but even then, the Viking count isn't super high. We've actually got 5 Colossus, but we actually stepped them too far forward. What happened there? ShoWTimE! No, no, no. Horrible fight. This is exactly what we're talking about. You can't take a... Wow, that was worse than imagined. He just move commanded all of his Colossus up the ramp. He literally just gave this game to ByuN. What was that? He just lost. You can't replace enough tech in time. I was about to say, like, no, ByuN has no way to kill all these Colossus. Like, there's 5 Colossus, and then 2 or 3 of them just went down to the move command into the bio, and ByuN's instantly like, okay, they're too close. Click, click. Oh, absolute disaster for ShoWTimE, who played an absolutely stunning game. I mean, just a mistake on a completely disastrous level. I can't really put into words just how bad that was. Unfortunately, as yeah, I mean, just too much lost all at once. GG. Wow. That was so bad. Unfortunately, I hate saying it like that because it sounds horrendous. It's not a great descriptor, right? But it really was just so bad. Like, you look at this game right now. There are 5 Colossus out against 6 Vikings. Like, ShoWTimE has got 5 bases against 3, and he just walks up this ramp. And it's these 2 Colossus. These Colossus, they just move command. I'm not sure what they're clicked on, but they just move up. The bio gets rid of all of the Colossus in seconds. Oh, wow. Absolutely. But, no, I guess the rocks. Oh, that is an absolutely devastating misclick from ShoWTimE. That is perhaps one of the biggest giveaways we've seen in a while, quite frankly. That's one of the biggest giveaways we've seen in a while. Ouch. That's so brutal as well, because it was such a good situation for him. Like, it's one thing to misplay, it's one thing to do things a bit wrong, but to do it when you're in such a dominant spot, you're up 5 bases to 3, the 4th of the Terran can't go down, he does not have a answer to your Colossus. So if ShoWTimE just sits on that low ground, there's no way ByuN can ever take a fight. The Colossus do too much damage before you ever kill them. The only way you lose them is by being reckless with the Colossus. Unfortunately, that's what happens. And ShoWTimE ends up down a game in this best of 3. While ByuN in the top right will be taking a sigh of relief after that one, because that was truly disaster averted. I mean, this game was so lost for him. Really took a... It's funny because it really was a monumental error. But it was a monumental error that obviously then came apart so quickly. Like, ShoWTimE, the way that TvP works, because it was such a good fight for ByuN, ShoWTimE then has no way to get enough tech up online to just about survive after, right? Like, we're not in that sort of state of the game. It was unfortunately just that one-sided, so... yeah. Unfortunate. And, the Colossus go down, and this game flipped in a second. ShoWTimE, again, did everything pretty correct up until that point. Like I say, he played a great defense. He played around the map nicely. He picked away so many units early with the Stalkers. Command center coming up in the main as you get the reactor coming up on the barracks. The probe continue to come about for a few moments here. As we have ourselves the Nexus just coming online at the probe, at the adept, at the warp gates. That probe just going to patrol here. I also feel like you go into game 2, and I feel like this is going to be such a difficult mental reset for ShoWTimE. Like, you know you played well in that first game. You know that you played the better game, plain and simple. But just with that one massive error, like, in some ways it's reassuring because you're like, well, you know, I was doing better until then, just got to do that again. In another way, that's not how StarCraft 2 works. Each game's different, builds are different, opportunities, you know, come and go. Missing the opportunities that are right there for the taking is something that obviously really makes you suffer as a player, as this Adept smartly cancels its shade. If it moved up there, the Marines were looking to flank it. Being in the back of this natural, they could have ran up, and then the Adept has no getaway plan. Just got to be a little cautious, but that's exactly what ShoWTimE is doing, as he is ensuring to just keep an eye on things. The Old are going to move down the low ground. It's the same build again from ByuN. 3 racks following the triple CC. So he's going to go into the same setup, despite the fact it didn't do that much for him initially. This time, ShoWTimE a little different. 1 additional gateway compared to the last. So he's going to play the 3 gates instead of the 2, and that will obviously maybe allow a bit more pressure. It's going to be a bit tougher here on Ultra Love because there's a ramp up into the natural. So attacking into the natural is not something you can necessarily do a lot of the time here. It's not something you can do fairly consistently. Engineering bay is done a little bit before the barracks. So actually, we're going to have a faster +1 as well. So it's not exactly the same from ByuN, but it's a lot of similar ideas. The engineering bay obviously gives you an upgrade earlier. That's going to mean some later bio. The question just being, would ShoWTimE come across the map and try and really do a lot with the Stalkers in a way that could punish this? Or is that not necessarily going to be the plan? Why no tanks for ByuN? Well, ByuN played the bio-heavy opening. When you play this bio-heavy opening, a lot of times when you see Terrans play tanks in TvP, they are tanks from the early game, and at some point you usually stop making tanks, you just have them left over. It's very rare you see a Terran player choose to just continue to build tanks all game long in TvP. So when you open with this bio-heavy opening, you're not going to have the factory to produce tanks early. You know, this factory's going to build a reactor, the starport's going to go there, it's all about bio. And from there, you typically just go into Widow Mines, because at that point, trying to build a tank count up doesn't usually do a lot for you. Unless you start to make unless you start to play a much slower game, which is much further down the line. So that's a pretty good reason to not have tanks. They're just, funnily enough, not a good part of the composition. Unless you're going, you know, they're super good for early game defense, but they definitely lose a lot of value as the game goes on in TvP. Especially as Zealots become more prominent, because tanks don't actually trade super well against Zealots. Widow Mines become a lot more effective there. And a lot of the time for TvP, the real thing you need to do is to eat your way through the Zealot lines. Especially in a lot of the fights that happen out and about on the map. So again, if the game slows down a lot, some tanks defensively across bases are going to be very good. But when you're trying to be aggressive and out on the map, which is typically the way the TvP goes, tanks just do not really hold up that same sort of level, so... Almost everyone down there. ShoWTimE just losing a bit of his vision. Has another obs nearby. Trying to keep track of units and see if they begin to move out or look to make any plays anytime soon. Pulse on the way. 5 extra gates. We add on the charge and the +1 as well. So we continue to bring that over for the moment. These Stalkers, they did so much last time, remember? They killed like 11 Marines. Right away here we have to blink back quickly. And we get a kill. This time Stim's done though, so these Stalkers not going to have anywhere near as much opportunity, as it was just not quite there. ByuN is looking to cut the corner off and catch these Stalkers. ShoWTimE sees it. He can blink across these rocks, but he's not going to get there. I think if he turned towards those rocks too quickly, he maybe gets cut off and actually loses a bit too much. Island just sitting tight. Marine Marauder medevac coming up. The armor upgrade. Widow Mines, reactor in the tech lab coming through as well. So they're going to charge forward. The Claws has already been here, able to jump on some of these Marines that were low from stimming after the Stalkers. And so ShoWTimE takes a very convincing start to this fight, just jumping in on this. Able to trade well with that first Colossus shot, doing some good damage there. Nice start so far. And the Bio will just reposition. The rest of the army gets into the middle of the map. Thermal Lance, very much so, still on the way. We had some Zealots on. The Nexus coming through. The Marines pull back and they get rid of the Observer, as the Widowmine will force the Stalker to blink back as well. Widowmine goes down. Bio will look to try and fight. Another Widowmine shot going to get a couple of Stalkers as well. The Rocks will not go down. The Rock Tower is very fun because obviously if you leave it low HP, you can knock it down in an instant and then create a blockade there that can obviously sometimes be very bad. Yeah, that was a good Widowmine target. He targeted it into the sentry, so the sentry's taking the brunt of that damage. As ShoWTimE looks for the force field to clear this up a little bit. We blink forward to make sure we get rid of a Viking. Keep those two Colossus alive, and ShoWTimE again trying to take advantage of the fact that he's got the Colossus up now and there's not a great answer to Colossus currently in play. The better off we can be with that, the happier he shall be. So keeping himself in good position as the Stalkers move up. They're going to get rid of the Widowmine that had already fired. And a few more shots coming over. A couple of Marines taking hits. The Vikings are stepping over once more. The Stalkers have to blink back one more time. Continue to come back and forth here as the Medivacs. We'll do some healing. We do get rid of a Colossus, so one of them will fall. The Rocks will go down, still adding on the 2-2. 2-1 coming up on the Forges as well. Going to be another robot facility coming up on the natural. The fifth base starting on the left side from ShoWTimE 2. You can see ByuN just now getting ready to start up his fourth, so there's the difference in setups at the moment as ByuN preps. Try and take the base that he never really got to last time around. Knocked down one set of rocks. The couple of Stalkers will step up. We get a Widowmine. We're going to get two. We are going to just a couple more Stalkers as well. So two Stalkers going down. The Bio just chasing across, getting some kills as we push that down. So just upgrades finish. And ByuN will have an edge on those upgrades. The +2 armor especially heavily ahead of ShoWTimE's. The attack upgrades are going to be fairly even. We'll see how quickly the players start their next round of attack upgrades as hallucinated probes. Built because they don't cost a lot of energy and they can spread out quickly to spot a lot of different directions of potential incoming attack. ShoWTimE again trying to have the info as to where his opponent might be playing. Looking to try and send a lurking disruptor shot forward, but again a bit too adventurous there, sending that one way too far up. Another disruptor shot that lands just on a Widowmine. Again, the ship weapons coming by, the Vikings and Ghosts coming online. +3 armor coming in on the engineering bay. So it gets taken out in the rest of this force. And this is awkward because now you've got to start splitting up defensively. This is a situation we never really saw in the first game where ShoWTimE really has to play extremely defensively. And ByuN's actually the one on offense. Obviously, by the time ByuN got on offense last time, the game was already almost decided as the Vikings go down. It's going to make it a lot easier with no Colossus that can really be shot away at. Both players actually lose a fair amount here. Fights on the left, fight on the right. Both players having to keep track of both of those engagements throughout here to try and make sure that we can capitalize on this and to do the best we can with it. Probably just a little bit of bio left here. I mean, the Stalkers on their own will not do a lot. Sentry got an energy overcharge. I'm wondering what we want to use that for. Force fields, Guardian Shield, something. Kind of feels like we need some sort of aid. The Guardian Shield pops. Fifth base of ShoWTimE. There's something he can defend. The three Colossus are all over there, so that's actually going to be a very easy defense in comparison. To the right side, that's definitely still been a problem, but we're continuing to warp in. The Medivacs are all super low. The Stalkers can hunt those down, so there's not going to be a pick up and get away scenario here. That means that ShoWTimE will find quite a bit more value. We chase down that Ghost. We blink for one more Viking. He's going to keep going. I mean, why the hell not? Why would you stop right now? Maybe now a few too many units start to come about, but you're trading out Zealots for techier units. Like, that's always going to be a good trade. As we finally blink back at the Stalkers on the left-hand side, everything gets cleaned up as well, so that is going to be a complete shutdown for now. +3 armor still coming through, the +3 attack coming up as well. 3 continuing. Colossus and Zealots coming on. Line 4 now. I mean, this just has to be an evacuation from ByuN. We have 2 armies on 2 different sides of the map, and base trade mode is activated. So ByuN hits the left, ShoWTimE takes out a base. Now, ShoWTimE has more real estate going in, so base for base favors ShoWTimE. He just has more base left over. It's just not going to be 1 base for 1 base, though. I mean, ByuN's already going to arrive on another base. ShoWTimE's going to recall to try and protect this location. He's going to have the Colossus to be able to make this reasonably okay. The 2 Colossus that recalled in looked like they were in danger for a moment or 2, but they're going to be okay. We lose one of them, but the Viking should go down. We finish it off. Yep, and ByuN's army is kind of getting shredded here. He's going to make a dive for that Disruptor as he just tries to find value in anything right now. 23 probes go down. ByuN actually preserved a lot of SCVs. Has to relocate a base back down to that 4th. I mean, ByuN actually has a lot of workers, but just doesn't have the bases in position to really do much with them. Meanwhile, ShoWTimE actually has a massive army supply difference, so 40 army supply in his favor. He's going to show up onto this planetary fortress. That's probably not going to last long. I think this is going to be an easy pickings, as the SCVs will try and buy some time. Here comes the army showing up. The Colossus are exposed. The army able to get there, and already the Marauders claim one of those Colossus for themselves. That single Viking not going to do much very quickly. It goes down. The Zealots leading the charge forward. 30 army supply lead still here from ShoWTimE. Colossus going to go untouched in the background. And I think this time ShoWTimE is going to have more than enough to do what is needed and to take this game number 2. And to take us all the way through to game 3 in this round of 16 match of today's WardiTV. Right now, guys, let's get into our next map as we have in the bottom left our Protoss player who probably feels like he should have had a 2-0 already the way that this series has gone. However, that is not the case. In the bottom left, our red Protoss is ShoWTimE. In the upper right, our blue Terran player is going to be ByuN. Third game of this round of 16. It is a stacked lineup today. Like I say, today the players have really come out in full force. I don't know if that's, you know, them all being like, right, time to really prep up for EWC with that announcement, or it's like, well, better playing as much as we can because of the ESL announcement, or maybe just a little bit of both. As we do have this forward barracks coming down from ByuN here to start us off in game 3 of this series. So ByuN going to put the barracks down. We have a second barracks going down across the other side. We add an orbital, a marine, cybernetics core coming through as well. Some retired players like Oliveira come back for EWC. Yeah, Oliveira said he wasn't going to be coming back even if EWC got announced, though. He said that when he retired already, so... We're going to see a Marauder coming about, the concussive shells coming up. And we do have the probe coming through as well. It's just going to continue over. Concussive shells and the Marauder coming. Again, we have the SCV and the Marauder coming around. Another Marauder coming through. Twilight Council building from ShoWTimE. Obviously, with this proxy play, we have the aggression about a hit, and ShoWTimE might be feeling a little bit funky about things right now. Sees that reactor timing. Now he starts the battery, but yeah, I think he's realizing the trouble he's in a bit too late. This might just be a run the hell up to the high ground scenario. He's going to pull the probes. Oh, try to put the battery down there, but it didn't work. He does not let the STV get the bunker going at least, which is nice. Obviously, ByuN on a very late expansion, so you can, in theory, spend a lot of time pulling probes and give up quite a lot of workers here. The other Adept coming from across the map. We're going to lose the Stalker, though. Concussive Shelled up. It's going to be difficult to keep that alive, and now the Adept's out without any defense. GG, it's going to end just like that. Aggression will get the better of ShoWTimE in this game.